Hi guys, this is Ramzan and you are all welcome back to the fourth video of this coordination compounds. In the previous video, we already discussed the three rules of naming the coordination compounds. Next we will move on to the fourth rule of naming these coordination compounds. The rule 4 says that order of naming ligands. So whenever in the complexes we are having more than one kind of ligands, in such case there we have to follow the sequence of naming those ligands. So here this question comes only when the complex containing more number of ligands in the complexes. So see, when more than one type of ligands are present, always we have to follow alphabetical order while writing the names of these ligands. And see, in the first complex, I have amine ligands, I have chloride and I have nitrite ligand. So in the alphabetical order, first comes amine, next comes chlorido and next comes nitrito N. So here mode of attachment of these ambidentate ligands is also important while writing the names of these ligands. Similarly, come to the second complex, we have amine, we have methylamine and one more is chloride. So the sequence of these ligands is amine, chlorido and methylamine. So this is all about what? Order of naming the ligands. Remember, when we are getting more than one kind of ligands, then only we have to follow this sequence of naming the ligands. Next one is rule number 5, that is numerical prefixes to indicate the number of ligands. So whenever a complex contain more than one kind of particular ligand, if the complex having one ligand and that ligand is present in excess, in such case what we have to do? We have to use some Greek prefixes to indicate the number of ligands which are present in the complexes. For example, here see, if the number of ligands are 2, then we have to write the prefix as di. If the number of ligands are 3, we have to write the prefix as tri. If the number of ligands are 4, then we have to use tetra. Similarly, for the 5 ligands, we use penta, and for the 6 ligands, we use hexa. Here I have some examples. See, so in the first complex, this chromium complex has 1 oxygen atom and 4 fluoride ligands. So while writing the name of this complex, here we have to use tetra while writing the name of the ligand fluoride. Similarly, when it comes to this second complex, here we have 4 amine ligands and 2 chloride ligands. So the name of this complex is, it is tetraamine dichlorido. Why it is tetraamine? Because there are 4 amine ligands. So for that reason we use the prefix tetra for this number 4. And there are 2 chloride, so we use prefix di for this dichlorido. Similarly, we have one more complex, that is PtCl4. There are 4 chloride ligands. So simply we use here tetrachlorido. So this is what the numerical prefix to indicate the number of ligands. In that we have one more B, that is, if the name of the ligand itself contains a Greek prefix, its name is put in parenthesis and other prefixes are used to specify the number of ligands. So if I take an example of ethylene diamine, so the ligand ethylene diamine itself contain a prefix di. So whenever such kinds of ligands will be there, in such case we are going to use some other prefixes to indicate the number of ligands. So here, if the ligands are 2 in number, then we use the prefix, instead of di we use bis. If there are 3 ligands, then instead of tri we write it as tris. Similarly, for 4 tetrakis, for 5 it is pentakis and for 6 it is hexakis. Here we have some examples. See, this ethylene diamine itself has a prefix, that is di. So here I have a complex. This is cobalt complex. This cobalt complex contain ethylene diamine as a ligand. But here the ethylene diamine, here there are 3 number of ethylene diamine. If I write the name of this complex as triethylene diamine, this will be wrong, because here ethylene diamine itself contains a prefix di, so we should not use tri once again here. For that, the correct name of this complex is, here it is trisethylene diamine. The correct name of naming this ligand is tris ethylene diamine. So here, next one is we have one more complex where this copper complex contains methylamine as the ligand. If I write this as a dichlorido dimethylamine, see there are two methylamines, so it is bis methylamine. If I write it as dichlorido dimethylamine, the structure of dimethylamine is like this. There are two methyl groups which are attached to the central nitrogen atom. But when you see this ligand, only one methyl group is attached to this ligand. If I write it as a dimethyl, then it indicates the structure like this. So the name writing like this is wrong. So the correct one is dichlorido. Here we have to write the prefix bis, and then it is methylamine. So this is all about what? Writing the or numerical prefixes to indicate the number of ligands. Next one is, we will move on to the next rule, that is rule number 6, mode of attachment to the central metal atom. So this question comes when we are having ambidentate ligands. So here, see, the ambidentate ligands can attach themselves to the metal ion through different donor atoms. These ambidentate ligands are having more than one donor atoms, and they can donate the electrons through either of the atoms at a time. So such type of ligands, whenever we are going to write the names of such ligands, we have to write the name and mode of attachment of such ligands in the complexes. For example, here nitrite is there. So this nitrite has two donor sites. One is nitrogen and one is oxygen. So if this ligand binds through the nitrogen atom, then we write it as nitrito N. If this ligand binds through oxygen atom, then we write it as nitrito O. Similarly, we have one more. So thiocyanide. So this in thiocyanide, again there are two binding atoms or donor atoms. One is sulfur and one more is nitrogen. So when this ligand binds through the sulfur, we write it as thiocyanato S, and when this binds through the nitrogen, we write it as thiocyanato N. Always remember, whenever we are having ambidentate ligands, there it is necessary to represent the mode of attachment of ligands with the central metal atom. Next one is rule number 7, naming the central metal atom or ion. So this we already discussed in the first slide. Here this rule depends upon the nature of the complex. The complex may be cationic, neutral or anionic. In the first class only, in the first slide only, I told that complexes may be of three types. One is cationic complex, one is neutral complex, and one more is anionic complex. So when we are having cationic and neutral complexes, so there is no need to write any special names for the metal atoms. So here the name of central metal ion is same. But when we are having anionic complexes, the name of central metal ion always ends in ATE. So here we will see certain examples for that. See, we have a cobalt complex. The name of this complex is hexamine cobalt chloride. So here I haven't changed the name of this cobalt here. It is same as that of what? Cobalt. Simply, if I take one more example, there is a chromium complex. Name of this is triamine trichlorido chromium. Here also I haven't changed the name of this chromium. It remains the same. But when we are having anionic complexes, there we have to change the name of this metal atom. See, hexachlorido platinate. So whenever you are having negative charge on the complexes, in such case we have to change the name of central metal ion, and we have to add ATE at the end to the name of the metal. Similarly, we have one more. Here we have cobalt complex, and this cobalt complex again carries a negative charge. So here also we have to change the ending of this cobalt. So it is hexachlorido cobaltate. Next one is certain names of metals used in anionic complex. Here I mentioned some of the anionic names of metals. So if the aluminum is present in anionic complexes, then the anionic name of this metal will be aluminate, and scandium scandate, titanium titanate, vanadium vanadate, chromium can be written as chromate, and zirconium can be written as zirconate, palladium becomes palladate, and rhodium becomes rhodate. These all the names of anionic names of these metals. Next one is name of metals in complex anion obtained by addition of ending ate. So here manganese can be written as manganate when it is present in anionic complex. Cobalt becomes cobaltate, nickel becomes nickelate, platinum becomes platinate, tungsten becomes tungstate, and molybdenum becomes molybdate. So these are the certain names of metals. So where we are going to change the names of these metals in the anionic complexes. Next one is names of metals originated from Latin names. So iron is, we write it as ferrum. So whenever this iron is present in anionic complex, in such case we have to write ferrate. So here we are going to change the Latin name and we have to add ate to the name of this Latin name of this metal. Similarly, cuprum becomes cuprate, argentum becomes argentate, stannum becomes stannate, plumbum become plumbate, and aurum became aurate. So this is all about what? Writing the names of ionic complexes. Next one is indicating the oxidation state. So here oxidation state is nothing but what? The charge carried by the central metal ion in the complexes. That is what we call it as oxidation state of that metal. And whenever we are going to write the oxidation state of metal, so always we have to write the oxidation state of metal in Roman numbers. So here note, remember this, no space is left between the symbol of the metal and the parenthesis containing the Roman numeral. So there we should not leave the space between the name of the metal and the oxidation state of the metal. Second one is 0 is used for oxidation state of 0 and a negative oxidation state is shown by negative sign before the Roman numeral. So whenever in some cases there are some complexes which are having 0 oxidation state. So 0 oxidation state also mentioned while writing the oxidation state of metal, and in some cases metals are having negative oxidation state. So whenever we are going to write the negative oxidation state of metals, there we have to write negative sign before the Roman numeral. Next one is what is the oxidation number of iron in this complex. So we don't know how to get the oxidation number of this metal ion. So here see, oxidation number of metal ion can be calculated by this formula. Charge on the complex ion is equal to the charge on central metal ion plus charges carried by the ligands. So here I don't know the oxidation number of this iron, so I'll take it as X. Let X be the oxidation number of iron according to valence rule. This valence rule indicates that the charge on the complex ion is the sum of charge on the central metal ion and charges carried by the ligands. So here the charge on complex ion is 3 and charge on central metal ion plus charges carried by the ligand. This is what, according to this valence rule, we are going to write the formula for finding the oxidation number of metal. So next one is charge on this complex is -3 and charge on central metal ion we don't know, so I'll keep it as X, and charges carried by the ligands. So Cn, the cyanide carries minus charge, there are 6 Cn ligands, so 6 into -1. Now -3 is equal to X minus 6 and X is equal to +3. So this +3 is the oxidation state of this central metal ion in this complex. Next one is the oxidation number of iron in FeCN63 minus complex is +3. Next one is we have one more complex. So here the complex does not carry any charge. See, here also I don't know the oxidation number of this metal, so I'll keep it as X. Then according to valence rule, we have charge on complex ion is equal to charge on central metal ion and charges carried by the ligands. Now I keep here charge as -4. It is because when you dissolve this complex in water, so this potassium ionizes in water and it gives 4 K plus ions, then simultaneously this complex get -4 charge. For that reason I have taken here -4. See, After dissociation, it gives 4K plus ions and FeCN6 4 minus ion. For that reason, I have taken here minus 4. Now, charge on central metal ion, we don't know. So, I'll keep it as X. And again, there are 6 Cn ligands. So, 6 into minus 1. Next one is minus 4 is equal to X minus 6 and X is equal to plus 2. Now, in this case, the oxidation state of central metal ion in this complex is plus 2. Similarly, I have given certain complexes. So, get the screenshot of these and find out the oxidation state of metals in all these complexes. Next one is rule number 9. This is naming of geometrical isomers. So, whenever we are having geometrical isomers, there we are having two types of isomers. One is cis isomer and one is trans isomer. So, when we have to use the word prefix cis and when we have to use the word prefix trans. See, cis is used when the similar groups are at the adjacent position. Means when the two same kinds of ligands or groups are present on the same side, then we use cis. If the two same kinds of ligands or groups are present on the opposite sides, then we use the prefix trans. Here we have the complex. See, in this complex, I have two ammonia ligands and two chloride ligands. So, these two chloride ligands are on the same side. So, if these two ligands are on the same side, then we use the prefix as cis. Similarly, come to this. In this complex, these two amine ligands are on the opposite side. They are on the diagonal, and these two ligands, chlorides, are also on the opposite side. So, here I will consider these chlorides. So, these chlorides as they present on opposite sides, so we use the prefix trans in this case. So, now the name of this complex is, it is cis diamine dichlorodoplatinum and it is trans diamine dichlorodoplatinum. So, whenever we are going to write the names of these geometrical isomers, just remember the cis and trans. Cis is used for the similar groups on the adjacent side and trans is used for the similar groups on the opposite sides. This is rule number 9. And here I have given some examples and their names, IUPAC names of coordination compounds. See, we will move on to the first one. So, here we have only one ligand, that is amine, and the name of this complex is diamine silver 1 chloride. So, here this 1, Roman numeral 1 indicates oxidation state of the central metal ion, and there I haven't left any space between the name of this silver and the symbol or the oxidation state of this metal. Similarly, come to the second one. So, it is tetramine copper sulfate, copper 2 sulfate. There I left the space between the cation and anion. This always remember. Next one is hexamine cobalt chloride. So, here oxidation state of central metal ion is, it is 3. Similarly, we have in the fourth one, here we have two ligands, amine and one more is chloride. First comes amine, next comes chloride in the alphabetical order. So, the name is pentamine, it is chlorido cobalt 3 chloride. Next one is tetramine dichlorido cobalt 3 chloride. And the last one is penta aqua chlorido chromium 3 chloride. So, in the next slide we have some more examples. Here I have taken some ambidentate ligands. See, in the first complex we have one is amine ligand and one more is nitrite ligand. The name of this complex is pentamine nitrito N. Here I indicated the mode of attachment to the central metal ion. So, here nitrite is binded through the nitrogen atom. So, here I represented it as N. Next one is, when it comes to the second one, thiocyanate ligand. In this case, the thiocyanate ligand is bonded to the metal through the sulfur atom. So, it is tetrathiocyanato S cobaltate. Why? Because it is cobaltate. This complex carries a negative charge. So, here we have to change the ending of this cobalt as cobaltate. Similarly, we have one more. In this case, tetrathiocyanato N. Why? Because this thiocyanato ligand is bonded to the central metal ion through the nitrogen atom. So, I written here as N. Next one is, see, we have two ligands. One is ethylene diamine and one more is dichlorido. In the alphabetical order, chloride will come first. So, ethylene diamine will come next. So, the name of this complex is dichlorido. Here I written bis. Why? Because the ethylene diamine itself contains a prefix di. For that reason, I written here bis. Dichlorido bis ethylene diamine cobalt 3 ion, because it carries a positive charge. Now, and here no need to change the name of this central metal ion. Next one is, we have potassium trioxalato aluminate. Why it is aluminate? Because when you dissolve this, potassium gets as a cation and this aluminum complex carries negative charge. For that reason, here we have to write aluminate. And the last one is, here we have two complexes. Among these two, one is carrying cation positive charge and one is carrying negative charge. So first we have to write the name of cation, then we have to write the name of anion. It is hexamine cobalt 3 hexachlorido chromate 3. This is the name of this complex. And here I have given certain examples. So get the screenshot of this slide and try to write the names of all these complexes on your own. Yes. So here I made a small mistake. In the second video, how to find the stable complex among these two. So here I also given the trick to find the stable complex. So just nothing but what we have to do, how many number of rings are formed with the central metal ion, that we have to find out. So here this ethylene diamine makes only 3 5-membered rings with the central metal ion, and when it comes to EDTA complex, so EDTA complex made 5 5-membered rings. Then the complex with more number of rings is more stable than the complex with a lesser number of rings. Among these two, this EDTA complex is making 5 5-membered rings and ethylene diamine making only 3 5-membered rings. Then out of these two, Fe EDTA complex is more stable than this ethylene diamine complex. See, so here this is more stable than this ethylene diamine complex. This is all about what? IUPAC nomenclature of coordination compounds. Thank you for watching this video.